We are the Liberty Intelligence Organization Network.
And this is our daily report. I am your host, Ricky Phillips, and it is Wednesday, January 29th, 2014. Now, for those of you who may have not noticed, I only do daily reports when I'm able to get the time to do them. Sometimes, I've worked a long day, I come home, I got to do laundry, I got to, make something to eat. By the time I'm done with that, I got to go to bed so I can wake up at 4:30 in the morning to go back to work, and then when I get off again, the whole system repeats, except maybe I don't have to do laundry, so maybe I can, sit down and film a daily report. So, and if I got errands to run or all types of other stuff. But whenever I get the opportunity to do it, and I'm trying to do it every single day, I even, write up my little note sheet every single day. I sit down and go through the news and write up a note sheet. I don't always get the time to sit down and actually film the daily report, but nonetheless, I do gather the links, and I do put all this together with these little things because, well, for those of you, if you followed the channel here, the Liberty Intelligence Organization Network channel, you know that I'm trained as a historian, and one of the things you're taught as a historian is to, keep track of sources, so that maybe in the future, if you ever need to use those sources, you'll have already gathered them, and you don't have to regather all your sources. So in the future, maybe I'll be able to write a paper or a news article or a book about the New World Order and all the stuff that went on in 2012, 2013, 2014 from a historical perspective. But at the moment, I'm just gathering these sources and going to present to people the news whenever I get the chance to. And I really wish I had more time to, but I really wish I could get a job where I could, do this. But it's hard to get into that field. It's hard to find the time to do it when you're already living paycheck to paycheck. It's tough times we're going through right now. But I just wanted to make that little brief announcement there. I think I had something else to say, but it's escaping my mind at the moment. So I will jump straight into the news for Wednesday, January 29th of 2014. Now, today's top stories, I basically only go over top stories because that's all I have the time to do. But today's first area of focus is some economic news. And basically, the economy's going to trash. If people haven't realized it yet, the Federal Reserve printing the money like crazy with their quantitative easing is totally destroying whatever value your dollars had, and that's why I went over in one of the daily reports recently. You have to stop thinking of things in value of their monetary wealth. You got to start thinking of things as literal things and what that thing can accomplish. For example, I use the fan. The fan is maybe $5 in value, $5 in value, and by tomorrow, after 85 million more dollars have been printed, it'll maybe be down to $4. And eventually it'll be like a penny, a penny for this fan. It might already be a penny for the fan. But the fan in itself is useful. It is a fan for cooling me. I like the sound when I sleep. I like to put the fan on. It helps me fall asleep. It's also got some metal in it right here in the stand. There's some metal in the stand for the fan, so the fan stand. That could be melted down and later reused for something else if ever need be. It's got plastic on it. It's got this thing right here. You can put it over a vent, and it'll help trap some dust and stuff. But you got to start thinking of things like that. For example, things like this, like a video game case. It really doesn't hold any value monetarily. Maybe it's $25 for this video game. But physically, it's physical worth. Maybe there's 0.001% silver in the disc. If you melt the disc down and want to break apart all the components of the disc, which will take like a centrifuge and all types of other stuff, that will cost literally like hundreds of thousands of dollars just to break down the CD and get the silver that's in it. That's what I'm saying is you got to stop thinking of things about monetary worth, and you got to start thinking of things and what they're worth physically. Now, that's what I've always stressed about the economy. People got to realize the economy's doomed. It's over. It's all fake right now. It's all fiat. It's all a joke. It's a big game. The money is make-believe. You're literally buying and selling things with monopoly money. right now. And the only reason it's still going on is because we're willing to let it go on. We're dumb enough to believe these people. We're dumb enough to follow them. We're dumb enough to accept their useless money in exchange for our useful things. And again, the economy is the reason it's been made into a fake economy is because they don't want anyone to ever have the means to build up an organization that could potentially rival or crush the system of the elite criminal organization known as the New World Order. So there's tons of reasons for the economy stuff. But the most important thing for you as an individual to understand is, as I've said, stop thinking about things as their monetary value. Oh, I got a car, it's worth $53,000. I got this, it's, you know, $85 for this right here. I spent $500 on this here leather jacket. You got to stop thinking of that, because guess what? It's ridiculous. Start thinking of it as your leather jacket or as your car and what it holds value as a thing, not as of money. And that's why people in the Liberty Movement stress getting gold and silver, because no matter what, if all the paper money and all the banks and all the stocks disappear, it's all gone. It's gone. Nothing left, all you stock bankers. It's all gone. But if you got gold and silver, you got something you can trade with. You got something that people will always accept. People will always say, I'll take that piece of gold. I'll take that bit of silver. Here, you can have this pair of socks. Yeah, people will always be able to trade with that. It's a money that's not ruled by any government or any bankster-run Federal Reserve, International Monetary Fund, nonsense, New World Order, fake scam. It's just what it is. It's a thing. It's a piece of gold. Here you go. Now give me a gallon of milk. You know, and that's how the system's going to have to work when the New World Order collapses, because the New World Order is going to collapse one way or another. Whether the New World Order collapses it intentionally to bring about more of a tyrannical system, or whether the New World Order we crush it and the system collapses. There's going to be a period of time between when the New World Order is either fully taking control or when the New World Order is dying, where you're not going to be able to buy things with your dollar bills. You know, like these bad boys right here. This bad boy right here are going to be useless. It's not even going to be any good as paper because it's already been written on. You can't even use it as paper, for God's sake. So that's what I'm saying, is that right there you won't be able to trade with. I mean, maybe there will be dumb enough people that they'll still take dollars after everything collapses. But I doubt it, and I wouldn't hold your breath for it. So if you're holding on to a bunch of these, thinking that it's going to get you somewhere, I advise you to invest your money in physical gold, in physical silver, and there's two other metals that you should put it into. If you're not going to buy gold, or you don't have enough for gold or enough for silver, but you should definitely get those first. There's two other metals that you can put your money into, and that's lead and brass. Now, there's a reason for that, and hopefully you won't need to ever use that lead or brass, but that's another option for you to invest your money in. It's better that it be invested in that than invested in nothing and just sitting there as paper in a bank. Whether it be your own personal crayon bank from when you were a child, or whether it be in a brick-and-mortar physical bank owned by some globalist somewhere who's eventually just going to take the money out of your account anyway. Just like they've done in many, many other places around the world. Now, there you go. There's my little rant about the economy and what I think people need to know. And I'm a little bit fired up today because I'm a little bit angry, and when I start getting angry, I start focusing on the New World Order more and more, and I just get real pissed off at them. And so, you know, I basically was experiencing some road rage today. I got to go up and down a one-lane road, you know, one lane both ways to and from work. And it's a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit, but there's little portions of it where it drops down to 30, and they stick speed cameras in there to steal your money. So I know where all the speed cameras are, so I know when to slow down and when they're going to drop the speed and all this other stuff. But when I get stuck behind people who've never been on that road, they drive 25 miles an hour up and down a 50-mile-an-hour zone. It literally would have taken me an hour and a half to get home today on a usual 25-minute car ride, you know, if there's no ridiculous traffic. had I not decided to go into the shoulder and pass this person, which I did. But you know, they were only going 25 miles an hour, and of course I didn't want to blame them and be like, oh, why aren't you driving the speed limit? Because it's not their fault. It's the government's fault for putting in these weird checkpoints every now and then where they stick a speed camera in there, they drop the speed limit. You know, the speed limit's 50, 50, 50, boom, down to 30, there's a speed camera, snag, $50 fine. And who knows, they probably rake in amazing amounts of money with those speed cameras in the locations that they're at, because they're on the 50-mile-an-hour road, and then they just drop it down in this little section. Now, they haven't nailed me, because I know where they all are, but it causes a traffic slowdown, which, you know, I thought the government's supposed to be trying to make things better, make our travel more easy, not make it difficult. Anyway, I'm getting so off topic here, I apologize. And I, of course, didn't check the time before I started, so I'm going to do a time check. Alright, now the clocks are synced up, so I know how much time I have. Now let me get into the real news here, and let me hit some news stories instead of just ranting and rambling on and on about a bunch of ridiculousness and how angry I am at the New World Order. First story here, headline is, Mark Faber warns insiders are selling like crazy. Short U.S. stocks, buy treasuries and gold. Now, Mark Faber is basically an economist who's been really on point when he predicts trends and what he knows about, you know, what's going on the inside. He's got sources, he knows people in the banking and the financial markets. So he knows, he basically came out and he was doing an interview, and he said in this interview, statistics show that company insiders are selling their shares like crazy. Now, what does that mean? That means all the rich people who made all their money on the stock market, all of a sudden, they're getting rid of their stocks. They're selling off their stocks like crazy, he says. And that's the quote. Like crazy, they're selling. Now, he also said, another quote from him, from Mark Faber, is those who own paper assets are doomed. Yes, doomed. If you have all your money in the stock market, if you have all your money in, you know, the Federal Reserve notes, you're doomed. It's gone. Bye-bye. Adios. And I've already told you, it's already gone. It's already useless. People just haven't realized it yet. Or the government hasn't allowed you to realize it yet, and the banksters are manipulating the markets using this fake money to keep themselves in control. It really irks my nerves. Some other things went on that I'm not going to share that have irked my nerves today. But there you go. Those who own paper assets are doomed. That's another quote from him. And he basically says an analysis of Federal Reserve data suggests that half the U.S. population has seen a 40% decrease in their wealth since 2007. So all this economic recovery stuff you always hear about in the news, or the markets went up, or this went up, or unemployment, and blah, 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 blah. It's all nonsense. People's wealth has gone down 40% since 2007. At least half of the people in the U.S. And of course, if all your money is in this, if all your money is in these little Federal Reserve bad boys right here, your wealth has gone down significantly more than 40%. If that's all you got, is right there, dollar bills. Now, if you got it in other things, if you got a bunch of nice cars, you got a bunch of guns, you got a bunch of gold, well, hell, you might have gone up. Your wealth might have gone up the way things are going, especially if it's in gold and guns. Gold and guns, the price of them is going up. It's going up. They're getting more valuable by the day. So that's all I'm saying is basically is you know, that the same thing Mark Faber's saying is the paper money market is gone. It's getting ready to collapse entirely, and there's no stopping it because they've already printed so much money that the money that was already in circulation is useless, and they're not going to stop printing money, so it's just becoming more and more and more and more useless until the day they stop printing money, and then people say, now this money is useless. And that's what is going to happen, too. When they stop printing this money, all the banks are going to say, we don't want with dollars, we don't accept dollars anymore. We don't take that. Sorry, what is that? A dollar bill? What's that? That's worth nothing. You want us to hold this dollar bill for you? Well, that's going to cost you $100 for us to keep this $1 in the bank for you. And that's how it's going to work, folks. It's really going to get that bad. It's really going to get bad. Next headline here. Why are banking executives in London killing themselves? Now I didn't really know where to put this. It's an unusual story, but since it's dealt with banking executives, I put it in my economic news file. And that's because it deals with the economy. Maybe something's going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. A bunch of bankers are realizing, wait a minute, the people are either going to be extremely disgusted and want to kill me, or everything I own is going to be useless soon. So they're just giving up on life, they're killing themselves. And then, of course, the other question is maybe there's insiders getting ready to do stuff, and these people aren't really killing themselves. That's just what we're being told. These are people who know too much, and they're being silenced before they're able to spill the beans on whatever the New World Order's got planned. Now, of course, that's all speculation. That's all speculation. None of that's fact. Now, let me get into the facts of this story. And, of course, this comes out of Economic Collapse blog. Michael Snyder is the author of this article right here. And let me just go over the facts. Vice President of J.P. Morgan's European headquarters in London plunged 33 floors from the top of his building to his death. And that's being ruled a suicide. And, of course, we don't really know why they're being suicides or why they're committing suicide, but I just gave you some speculation as to why. But not, in addition to him, you know, not just the Vice President of J.P. Morgan in Europe, also the former Deutsche Bank, the former president of the Deutsche Bank, I must have left a word out here, so my sentence makes no sense that I wrote. Former Deutsche Bank, I guess the president, that's the word I forgot to put in there. But anyway, he was found hanging dead in his home in London on Sunday. And the communications director from another London bank was found dead last week. Yesterday, now of course that all is happening at the same time that on Tuesday we learned that a prominent Russian bank has banned cash withdrawals. They're not even going to let you take the cash out of the bank. And trust me, that's coming here too. In fact, some of the banks here are already limiting how much cash you can take out. Soon they'll just ban it altogether. You can't take any cash out. You want to buy something? Use your debit card. Use your credit card. You don't have a debit card or a credit card? Well, you better get one because we're not going to let you use cash anymore. Holler. It's awful. It's crazy. But of course, you know, maybe that's why. Maybe the banks, maybe these guys are really good guys, and they don't want to be bad guys anymore, and they don't know what to do. Of course, if you're our bankster, if you're involved with the evil bankster monopoly, New World Order, and you don't want to be a bad guy anymore, don't kill yourself. If you're a military person, if you're a bankster, if you're in the government, and you've been part of this bad guy group for so long, and now you want to be a good guy, you don't want to play ball with the bad guys anymore, but you don't know what to do, don't kill yourself. Do what I do. Get your cell phone out, flip it around, hit the video record button, and start talking about what you know. Upload it onto YouTube, and then if you've said too much and the New World Order decides to silence you, let them silence you. Don't kill yourself. Because if they silence you, we can use it against them. But if you kill yourself and it's a obvious suicide, your soul's screwed. There's nothing that anybody on earth can use about your life to defeat the evil that led for you to want to kill yourself. So suicide's just a bad option. I mean, come on. Don't do it if you're one of these banking insiders. Let us know what you know before you do it, at least. Please. And of course, one final thing is Germany's central bank, a little bit of final facts from this article, is Germany's central bank and the International Monetary Fund are floating the idea of one-time wealth tax options on bank accounts. Now, it would be you pay a tax for having a bank account. Is basically what they're floating the idea of. And of course, maybe that's upsetting these banking people. They're saying, we can't do that. That's wrong. We're already, lying to people about why we're keeping their money for them, but now you want us to steal their money literally just right out of their bank accounts? Ridiculous craziness. Now I gotta rush here. I'm running out of time. Oh yeah, I'm running out of time. I got about 10 minutes to get through all the other news stories. Granted, I've only got 3 more to go through. So that's enough for the economic news. It was the main focal point of this daily report. We got 2 brief ones and then a little bit of another top story. But switching gears into some NSA news. Headline here: NSA hires former DHS official as civil liberties and privacy officer. Now it's almost comical that they're hiring somebody to make sure that the NSA doesn't infringe on our civil liberties and privacy. That's all the NSA does, is infringe on your civil liberties and privacy. Everything that they do domestically infringes upon your civil liberties and your privacy. But getting back into the news, NSA Director Keith B. Alexander hired Rebecca Richards, who is a privacy expert, to provide oversight of NSA privacy-related activities. So they hired this lady who's a privacy expert to come in and make sure that they don't infringe on anyone's privacy. Now, of course, are we going to trust them? No, you shouldn't trust them. In fact, what they're probably really doing, and this is out of the article, the most likely reason that she's been hired is so that in the future, when more Snowden leaks come out about how bad the NSA spy grid is, because we don't even know 20% of what Snowden has. Snowden's got so much stuff. I mean, I forget what the number is, but like something like 70,000 documents is what he took. So he's got tons of info, and we're just getting it piecemeal, a little bit, a little bit. I wish we would get it all at one time. I wish Snowden would just be like, you know what, Glenn Greenwald? I'm just going to go ahead and release all this information myself in an interview on RT. There you go. You go on RT. Boom. Be like, hey, I want to do a 2-hour special with RT. I want to reveal everything I know. Boom. Now, of course, he's probably not going to reveal everything he knows because a little bit of it is insurance, where he's already said, if they come after me, I have information that will destroy them, and I will release that if they come after me. Now, Ed Snowden has said that. So you don't want to release, you know, your big bombshell stuff, but don't let the media control this release, because the way it's being handled is we're getting it a little bit at a little time. We're being incrementally accustomed to the NSA spy grid, because as we learn more and more, eventually it just becomes passé. And okay, yeah, they spy on everything I do. Yeah, they take my bank account numbers. Yeah, they know what I buy and sell. Yeah, they watch me on every CCTV camera and everything else. You know, it becomes passé, and it just gets to be normalized. But it's more likely that this woman, Rebecca Richards, has really been hired so that as we learn more, eventually people are going to get really upset. And if they realize, wait a minute, they've been watching me do that. No, I can't believe it. People are going to get really upset, and she's there to take the fall. You know, eventually they'll get really upset, and then they'll be like, oh, I can't believe the NSA's been doing that. And then Alexander will come out and they'll give a press conference. They'll be like, well, we hired Rebecca Richards to make sure that this didn't happen, but she let it happen, so we're going to fire her, and you feel better about yourself. So they're probably most likely bringing her in to take a fall later. That's the big important thing from this news right here. Now, switching gears again, I got some gun news, and that is from Obama's State of the Union. He basically promised, headline, Obama promises to enact gun control laws with or without Congress. Now, the State of the Union was basically Obama just saying, I'm going to be a dictator. I'm going to do whatever I want. I'm going to ignore the laws of the country. I'm going to go ahead and pass laws and enact regulations all by myself, forget Congress. And, of course, in response, congressmen are shocked and startled. They can't not believe that Obama's really taking the presidency this far. They're shocked that he's willing to break the constitutional law of this country. They cannot believe it. And they also cannot believe it that people are going along with it. But that's because people don't know the law of the land anymore. People don't know their rights, or they don't understand how this government's supposed to work. They think Obama is king already. And he might as well be. I mean, he can pretty much do whatever he wants. He's got a kill list. He jokes about how he's good at killing people with the drones and all this other stuff. I mean, it's disgusting. On top of everything else today, it really hurts my nerves going over this news right now. It's bad, all of it. There's not one piece of good news in my stack today. It's awful. Yeah, not one piece. Switching gears to the final topic of today, and that is some World War news. Headline here is U.S. intelligence boss predicts more violence in the Ukraine. Now that's James Clapper. He's Obama's intelligence boss, and he emphasized that the Russian support for the Ukrainian president threatens democratic norms and could turn Ukraine into a puppet state for Russia. Yeah, like the New World Order controlling our government doesn't destroy our democratic norms and threaten to turn our country into a puppet state for the New World Order. It's already happened. It's already gone on. Alright, democratic norms are gone. There are no more democratic norms. All there is a big joke, a big pageantry that is put on, a big, you know, science fiction experience for you to go and vote at a voting electronic booth, and then it's really just a sham. It's just a joke. It's a lie in your face. there is no more democratic norms. The New World Order is in control of the world. All right, and for James Clapper to say something like this is, I wish I could run into James Clapper on the street one day when he's all by himself. It'd be a very bad day for Mr. Clapper. I'll tell you that much right now. I'd give him a piece of my mind, and if he didn't like what my mind had to say, I'd give him a piece of something else. Getting back to the news story here, a former Ukrainian president warned that the Ukrainian parliament, that the country is on the brink of civil war, and protests continue across the nation. Now, of course, the protests going on over there are being funded, of course, by a globalist. His name is George Soros, and they're being funded to topple a government that is not willing to play ball with the New World Order. So it's not like these people are protesting because the Ukrainian government's bad. They're protesting. It all began because Ukraine voted to not join the European Union and decided they were going to have a closer relationship with Russia. Oh, the globalists got upset about that because for some reason Russia has not fully bent over backwards to the New World Order yet. It's the one nation on the planet Earth that literally has the military means, and for whatever reason they're not willing to bend over to the New World Order. They're still capable of fighting the New World Order with physical force, and they haven't been completely institutionally and politically conquered by the New World Order like our country has. Our military fights for the New World Order. They don't fight for the United States of America. They don't fight for our rights. They don't fight for our citizens. They don't fight for any of that. They fight for the New World Order, whether they know it or not. And believe me, I have friends in the military, and they don't want to believe that they're fighting so a secret criminal organization can take control of the planet Earth, but they are. And it breaks my heart. I don't even know if I got a heart anymore because I'm so fed up with this. Anyway, Russian President Vladimir Putin reaffirmed his commitment to Ukraine and warned against international involvement in Ukraine's domestic affairs. So basically, the reason that I put this in the World War news stack is because it's just like Syria. The Russians are back in the Ukrainian government. The Russians were back in Syria's government. It's a means for, it's just like World War I. There were all these alliances set up before World War I. And then, because of one assassination in one little country, boom, a world war breaks out. Well, that's what's sort of going on here. Russia's got ties with Syria. They got ties with Iran. They got, homies in Ukraine. They're trying to defend their homies. They say, hey, you mess with my homies, you mess with me. And Russia's saying, I'm warning you. Don't mess with the Ukraine. He's saying if the Ukraine's got their internal problems right now, people want to have protests or violence or civil war or whatever, let Ukraine handle Ukraine's business. Don't get involved in them. That's what Russia's saying. Now, of course, Russia's saying if you do get involved with them, well, we might have to get involved with you. And Putin's getting really strong here. I mean, and I hate to say it because Russia's been they've been the bad guys. They are the model for what the New World Order is doing. But right now, with the New World Order in control, Russia's the good guy. And that's sad. I mean, they're really not the good guy. They're the better guy. The real good guys are people like me, people like Alex Jones, people like Infowars.com, people like Michael Savage. People who are willing to speak the truth to power. We're the good guys. And we don't have anything. I don't got a military. I don't got a national, economy to run with. I don't got anything, and I'm willing to stand up against the New World Order. I mean, Putin's got a whole country. And he's standing up to him as best as he can without starting a nuclear war, I guess. But, I mean, I don't know. It's exhausting going to work all day and then coming home and having to read all this and then having to go all over this and knowing all this stuff all the time. It's drives me crazy. But it's important that people know it because it's the only way we're going to stop it. Otherwise, we all just wear the shackles now, and eventually they're just going to kill us and replace us all with robots. So it's the death of humanity, or you stand up and fight right now. That's it. Those are our choices. Either bye-bye humanity, and if you're on that side, you might as well kill yourself. If you are joining the globalists, you might as well kill yourself. But if you want to fight, stand with humanity and want human beings to reach for the stars and to expand across the universe, then you better stand up right now and start warning people about the threats to their liberty. And you better start teaching people about what liberty is, what individual rights are, because people don't know. And if people don't know, people can't stand up for it. So you got to teach them about liberty first, then you warn them about the threats, then they're willing to stand up against the threats because they know what they're losing. I think I'm about done for the day because I'm getting really worked up and I'm running out of time. So that does it for the Lion Daily Report, the Liberty Intelligence Organization Network Daily Report for Wednesday, January 29, 2014. I was your host, Ricky Phillips. I want to thank you very much for tuning in. I really hope you heed these words that I've spoken to your heart. It's very important that you get active, that you do something, that you at least know about this stuff. So, as always, thank you for tuning in. Stay strong, stay safe, stay free, and stay informed.